Alright, here we are in the greenhouse. This is a different greenhouse than the last one that we looked at. This one is attached to my house. It can also potentially freeze in here, but it's not usually so bad. And this one I have the possibility of heating because I have my wood-fired hot tub in here. So there's a stove down here, Japanese stove that makes hot water and pumps. Hot water circulates in and out of this tub. So that's a winter bathtub, but it's also a reservoir of water to help heat this greenhouse in the wintertime. And there's just a lot of random plants in here. There's a bed of cactuses on the side here. You can see mostly Trichocereus, San Pedros, and similar cactuses. This is just a work area, so we can make up potting mix here. I've got a lot of potting to do over the course of the winter, things that I brought in, pots with multiple plants in them that can be divided up. Like this is probably 50 different Chinese asparagus plants packed in here, so we can separate those out, just to have something to do in the wintertime. Not everything that's in here has to be in here. Some of it's just in here to work on, like these chrysanthemum cuttings. But some of these things actually would freeze if they were outdoors, like the rabbit's foot fern, which is an important Chinese medicinal herb that's not quite hardy. That's the reason it's in here. Some citrus seedlings. We've got some bigger citrus here. Almost hardy citrus, like zone 7, but they need to be inside. Some things are starting to pop up in here already. This is a Tibetan rhubarb leaf that just came up, I think, yesterday. And it's still all wrinkled up. That'll expand. Probably by tomorrow that'll be as big as my hand. I see some parsley in here. Odds and ends. Things to work on through the winter. This is wasabi, the Daruma variety of wasabi that makes the big roots. Wasabi is definitely hardy. It doesn't have to be in the greenhouse. The reason it's in here is I wanted it to grow a little faster over the winter. But we'll be setting those out this spring. Let's see. Well, I could talk about that, but maybe I'll let that go. These are Salvia Divinorum, and usually I cut these back and propagate them in the autumn because otherwise they tend to get infested with white flies over the course of the winter. But they actually haven't this year, for whatever reason. So I thought I might go ahead and propagate them now. So let's just take some material off of these plants. This one got very big. So from this is a very easy plant to make cuttings of. It's about as easy as anything I know. The way we make cuttings on a small home garden scale is just poke them into a bucket of pure perlite. There's a little bit of dirt at the bottom down here in case they make roots and we don't get around to repotting them. They'll be able to have something to eat. So we put a little dirt at the bottom, but it's basically pure perlite. Then we want to make the cuttings. So I want to remove the leaf material and the stalks. So I'm just leaving a tiny little bit of leaf on top, taking off almost all the other leaves, and poking that down into the perlite. This one has a little tiny bit of leaf right there. Stick that down in here. So that's all the leaf I want to leave, is just that little bit on the top. Cut these off more or less flush. Just have less area to potentially rot away. There'll be another one. Alright, so here are our cuttings. Have a hole for them. Be sure you put them in right side up. They won't root going upside down. Some plants we use rooting hormone, but the salvia is just so easy. I think you could probably root these in just a vase of water. So we're not going to even bother with rooting hormone on these. And basically what you want is to keep 100% humidity. That way they can't wilt. You don't want them to wilt. Plants wilt in response to being dried out, so as long as there's 100% humidity around them, they're not going to root, and they'll go ahead and, they're not going to wilt, and they'll go ahead and make their roots. In commercial greenhouses, they have mist units, sort of like what you see in certain grocery stores in the vegetable section, where they just shoot out mist every couple of minutes, which is great. That could be easily adapted for rooting cuttings. But we don't have that, so what we do is just set up a little mini greenhouse here. I do happen to have these plastic cloches, which are very handy, and they fit right on top of a 5-gallon pail or certain size nursery pots. Before I managed to get a hold of these, I used to just make a little plastic tent. Just put a few wire hoops over, cover it with plastic, tie it around the edge to make it tight, airtight. So this should be pretty well airtight. And of course it can dry out from the bottom, so I'm going to stick this pot in a little dish of water at the base, so it'll be constantly kept moist. And then we want to have it in maximum light, but not direct sunlight, because if it was in direct sunlight it would overheat probably and burn up the little cuttings in there. And so that is making cuttings of salvia, or pretty much anything else. We do a lot of the Mediterranean herbs the same way. Lavender and hyssop, sage, can all be done the same way. They're all almost as easy as this.